There's no sneaky Rex in this movie, which is good, but also kind of sucks. I miss the big lug. Plenty of purdy raptors though, and a sneaky Spinosaurus. He's okay, I guess. Pretty cool. Bit of an ass. Owns a Bugatti. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Super Series Tuesday. For today, we will be covering the third film in the Jurassic Park franchise, simply titled Jurassic Park 3. Jurassic Park 3 was actually the first film not to be directed by Steven Spielberg, but instead was directed by Joe Johnston. It once again stars Sam Neill as Dr. Grant, alongside William H. Macy and Téa Leoni. This time around, Dr. Grant is persuaded to do a flyby of the second island from the second film, by the Kirbys, played by Macy and Leoni. But when a surprise landing on the island takes place, their motives seem to be a little hazy. It seems they may have some ulterior motives besides just a simple flyby because they're rich and they can. Alright guys, so very simply we can just hop right into the positives. First and foremost, the movie is short. It is the shortest of the Jurassic Park franchise. It only clocks in at about an hour and a half, and to me that was perfect. Coming off the longest movie in the franchise, which was the second one, coming in at 2 hours and 8 minutes, this was perfect because if you watched my last review, I wasn't too fond of the second movie. So this one was very welcome to be a hour and a half long. It was short, it was sweet, it just got right to the point. There was no dragging things out, there was no long boring scenes. The pacing was fantastic, probably a bit rushed, but to me, coming right off the second one, it was the right idea. Next is another obvious one. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Again, the practical effects are absolutely stellar, and the animatronics, the sound design, just like the other movies, fantastic again in this one. Again, Sam Neill absolutely kills it. For some reason, when I was younger, I thought that he just kind of phoned this one in and just took it for the paycheck. But no, this is the same Dr. Grant that we know and love from the first one. Of course, now he's not as fond of dinosaur. He more so just kind of likes their fossils again after, you know, almost being eaten by them in the first movie. But he is still the same Dr. Grant that we know and love. Next is the fact that this movie is just totally expendable. You really don't have to pay attention to this movie. The plot is so simple, so it's super easy to watch. You can throw it on at any point in the movie and you'll still have a fun time watching it. And next is the fact that this movie is actually a lot smarter than I remember. There was a lot of things that I thought might have been logical flaws in the movie, but when you skip back a couple of minutes or even a couple of scenes, it's actually explained. Like, things in this movie make a lot more sense than I thought. That's all it is meant to be just like a fun action movie, but it has a head on its shoulders. It's smart and it thinks out things pretty logically. And last of the positives is the fact that the T-Rex actually isn't the big bad in this one, and in fact it's a new dinosaur called the Spinosaurus, which is essentially like a velociraptor but the same size as a T-Rex, and it has a giant spine thingy going down its back. But no, he's totally a badass and he's super cool, and I loved that dinosaur as like the main villain of this movie. He was really badass. Next is the middle ground. One of them is Laura Dern. She is in this movie for a scene, the very beginning of the movie, and she is only used as foreshadowing for a thing later on in the movie, and then she's gone and that's it. So I thought that was super annoying. I would have loved to have her back as well. Next is you notice that it's a new director. You can tell that it's not Steven Spielberg, and it's not a bad thing, and that's why it's in the middle ground, but you can just tell with some of the camera work and how the movie just has a lot less heart to it, a lot less wonderment and amazement and flair. But you could tell it was more so meant to be an action movie than an adventure movie, so that's where I kind of, you know, have the fine line between Joe Johnston does action movie, Steven Spielberg does adventure movie. And next is just simply and plainly, there's a scene later on in this movie that a character has a jar of T-Rex pee, and when someone asks how you got it, he simply says, "You don't want to know? I do want to know." Believe me, please, I've been wondering that since I was a child. I really do want to know. And now for the negatives. First and foremost, I think this is not only the biggest negative of this movie, but the biggest negative of the entire franchise. I am sorry, Téa Leoni. I know you're a phenomenal actress, but the character of Amanda that you portray in this film sucks. Is my least favorite character in the entire franchise. She is horrible. All she does is scream, cry. You will never want to hear the name Eric again in the rest of your life, and I just found her supremely annoying. She was only in the movie just to be a damsel in distress time and time again, and I just thought she was completely pointless, super annoying, and they just totally missed the opportunity here to have a strong mother present in the movie. But no, she's like the only female, and she is insanely annoying. Next is there is a dream sequence in this movie that still gives me nightmares to this day, and no, it is not in a good way something that wakes me up scared. It is something that makes me want to wake up and angrily snap my Jurassic Park 3 disc in two, because it is insanely stupid. It is pretty early on in the movie. You'll know exactly what I mean when you see it. It is horrible. Next is the fact that there's plenty of times in this movie where people outmuscle dinosaurs. It doesn't make any sense at all. At one point, the Spinosaurus crashes through this giant fence meant to keep dinosaurs out with ease. It just goes boop right through it, and then the people close the door on him and he cannot seem to get the door down. Doesn't make any sense. They also outmuscle some velociraptors and some other dinosaurs in this movie. It's really stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Next and last is the ending of this movie. The ending of this movie is absurdly abrupt. It literally just comes to a halt. They're like in the middle of a chase sequence, and then they like run out of a tree line, and all of a sudden the movie's over. It's just over. It's like boop, 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 boop. They tie every little knot in 2 seconds. The movie ends, the credits roll, and you're like, okay. Definitely could have tied that up a lot more. Even if they would have added just like another 10 minutes onto this movie to kind of make it flow a little bit better, I feel like it would have definitely upped the movie a bit more. But as it stands, yeah, the ending is literally just like, boom, done. All in all, guys, I actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than I remember. For some reason, when I was a kid, it was like my favorite one growing up because of the Spinosaurus and stuff. But I thought when I watched it now, I would hate it a lot more than I did. And I really didn't. I actually had a fun time watching this movie, and I wouldn't be opposed to watching it again. Because like I said, it's just a simple, quick, fun dinosaur movie. To summarize, best part about this movie is that it's short. Again, the practical effects, sound design, animatronics, fantastic. Sam Neill is great. The river scene, the pterodactyl scene, phenomenal. The movie is completely fun, completely expendable, easy to watch. Put it on at any time. You can enjoy it just as much. It's a lot smarter than I remember, believe it or not. I know I say dumb fun, but I mean it's just because like it's dinosaur scene after dinosaur scene. But just a lot of like the little details and stuff like that, they really pay attention to them, which is what I like. You know, there's things that you might think might be logical errors, but believe me, if you look back through the movie, you are going to find that it's not actually an error at all, and they actually thought it out pretty well. And the Spinosaurus is a total badass. Middle ground, Laura Dern's barely in it. She's only in it for foreshadowing purposes. You notice that it's a different director. Not a bad thing. It's just noticeable. And the fact that I still, to this day, since I first watched this movie when I was like 5, I really want to know where that T-Rex pee came from and how the hell that character got it. The negatives, Amanda is the biggest negative on the entire franchise in my mind. Again, De Leone, I'm sorry. I know you're phenomenal. Just why though? Next, humans outmuscle dinosaurs way too much. The raptors are way too smart. The dream sequence that still haunts me to today, and the ending is insanely abrupt. It's just like, haha, if I just ended the video right there, that's the end of Jurassic Park 3. All in all, guys, like I said, this movie's a lot more fun than I remember. I don't necessarily want to give it higher marks than it deserves because I had fun watching it that time, because I cannot ignore the flaws of the movie. I can't give it a good rating just because it's like, you know, nonsensical fun. So I have to be fair, and I'm going to be giving Jurassic Park 3 a 6.5 out of 10. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, what did you think of Jurassic Park 3? And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.